And welcome back. So today we are going to talk about documentation. Yes, this video is made. It's not really night. It's actually five something. It's not even yet 5:30. But yeah, welcome to Doha. It gets late early at this time. So anyway, so let's talk about the importance of documentation for professionals. We think only business owners need to document, but it's important for professionals as well. So have you ever found yourself in a situation where you couldn't remember the details of, let's say, a project you worked on, or you misplaced some important information, or you're struggling to prove that you contributed to a particular project, etc. And I'll say this because sometimes, like maybe when you're in an interview, you need to talk. I remember seeing a video by Elon Musk, and he said that the way he hires, determines who to hire, is that he asks them what exactly they did on the project. So if you did the work, you should remember, and documentation should help you, really. So many professionals, we underestimate the power of documentation until we actually face setbacks, and then we prefer to learn by experience. It's sad. It's quite sad. Things that could have been avoided. So one of my colleagues is working with another location, and so he's working on a project that his manager on that project is not going to be the one to appraise him. So he was saying that he just got off a call with the manager, and she had very good reviews for his work. So I asked him, was this documented? And he was like, oh, she had good. I said, please ask her to write something that you can then share with your manager when it's time for appraisals, because sometimes that's why you're upset. You did work that was not documented, and you expect your manager to somehow know that you are amazing. Life doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You're going to need to put in something so that, like I said in the previous video, give your manager enough ammunition to defend you. Documentation is one of the things that you need to do. And there are three critical ways in which documentation helps. Number one, it helps with accountability. It shows what you have been doing, when and how. And it's especially important when you work within a team, right? So if for any member of the team to say, oh, I ran the simulation, but if you don't have it documented, and for me, the reason why I make sure it's documented is that I find it easy to document is that they're required to write reports, and in writing the reports, the name of the originator is there, the name of the checker is there, and the name of the approver is there. So if what I did was to originate a document, I can demonstrate it. I have a report that has my initials, right? But apart from that, even on my CV, I write in there what I did exactly on that role for that project. So I want to also give an example of something that happened to me a few days ago. I just got certified as a facilitator for technical workshops, and immediately I got certified, I reached out to my supervisor. I told him about it, and not long after, he had a proposal he had to work on, and they were needing facilitators, so it was just timely. So part of what he needed from me was for me to make a list of the workshops I've facilitated in the past, even before I became certified. And I've been doing this work for like 16 or more years. How would I remember everything if I did not document? So it was easy for me to be able to give him what he was asking for, because on my CV, I write everything that I've done. I have that CV that has everything, and I have the one that is a resume, that is like a cover. And also it was easy for me to go back and document. So now I actually have a list, and I decided I'm going to maintain that list so that the next time someone has to ask me, I just give the person an Excel sheet instead of a CV. And so that's one other way to document, right? And the other thing is that it helps with efficiency. A well-documented process saves time. Instead of reinventing the wheel, you and your team can simply just refer to existing resources. In the job I was in before now, when I resumed, I needed to be onboarded. I know it was a role where it was an offshore role. So I had a back-to-back. My back-to-back had to overlap with me for like a week. So he had only a week to explain things to me. So what I recommended was that, how about we do it this way? How about we record, so that whatever it is you're telling me, I may not remember everything now that you're talking, but let me record and save those videos. And I did that. And people were kind of laughing at me that it's not that deep. But eventually, when I had to, there was a time my back-to-back was not able to come and I had to go. So I had to hand over to someone else. It was easy to just share the recordings with the person. And when I left that role into a new role, it was easy to share the recordings again with the other person that was coming into the role. So document. And then it's also helpful for compliance and for legal reasons. There are some times when you need to demonstrate, and it's the documentation that you've kept that will be your evidence. Sometimes when you say, oh, my boss is toxic, how do we know that your boss is toxic if you don't document? So it's important for you to document. Sometimes you may have been given an instruction, but we can't take your side because right now it's your word against someone else's word. But if you get it written down in one way or the other, we will not be in that position. It will be easy for us to be able to come in and say, oh, you gave this person so and so instruction, and they were following instructions. So in my case, I had a scenario where I was working with a client, and we were supposed to do a particular workshop. And I spoke with him. I went to his office to talk to the workshops we needed to do. And he said, oh, we don't need this particular workshop. I was like, we need it. He said, oh, no, we don't need it. So I said, if I'm taking it out, I'll need to document it. And he was like, no problem. And also immediately I got back to my office, I wrote him an email and we documented what he said. We documented it. I made sure that I didn't go home until it was documented. So I documented his instructions, sent him the email, and uncharacteristically, because typically he would not respond to emails, he responded to that email because he was very, very, he really wanted us to not do the workshop. So I had what I needed. So I took it and I ran with it. I saved that email somewhere. I kept it somewhere so that I would be able to retrieve it whenever it's needed. And 3 years later, it was needed because someone was trying to make it look like we didn't know what we were doing in my organization. Someone was trying to rubbish our work and make it seem like, oh, we weren't thinking and we missed something critical. And so I think the day he started making trouble, I was not in the office. So when he started making trouble and sending emails, my manager at the time just told them that they should hold on, that when I come, I will give the answer of peace. And of course, I got there. I brought out the email. I showed them that they asked us not to do it. And that was why we didn't do it. And that was the saving grace. That was the reason why the matter died down. Imagine if I didn't have my documentation. Imagine what costs would have incurred. So I'd like to encourage you. It may take a bit more time, but do it. Do it. You'll be happy you did. Document. Thank you for listening. And I would like to hear from you. Any stories regarding documentation that came through for you? Any cases where you didn't document and it came back to bite you? Let's have it. Let's hear you.